Hi, all cinephile Mike, your friendly neighborhood cinephile, is here with day 80 of Awards Season Review Season 2, and we are moving right along with International Week, where we are hopping all over the globe. And today we land in Chile with Netflix's El Conde. Written by the film's director Pablo Larraín along with Guillermo Calderón, the film unfortunately has no box office information for me to present to all my box office pundits because the film was produced by Netflix, and while it did have some limited theatrical releases, Netflix does not traditionally make their box office information known. Now, the film is currently nominated for one Oscar this year, Best Achievement in Cinematography, a category that the film has also been recognized with a nomination for by the American Society of Cinematographers. Now, as we know, the Oscars haven't happened yet, nor have the American Society of Cinematographers Awards, so this film is still hoping for some awards recognition. Well, El Conde is a vampiric dark comedy based on a historic individual. Now, the history lesson. We have Augusto Pinochet. Now, Pinochet served as president of Chile from 1981 to 1989 after he had led a military junta that overthrew the socialist government of President Salvador Allende. Now, it was said that throughout his life, the actions of Pinochet led to the deaths and disappearance of thousands of individuals, many of whom were never seen again. Now, here in the film, Larraín and Calderon have reimagined Pinochet as a vampire. Now 250 years old, Pinochet, who had started his life as a fighter in the French Revolution, escaped to Chile in 1935, joined the Chilean army, and built his career up the history that we know. Now, in present day, Pinochet feels he has lived too long and he wants to die. So he stops drinking blood. He's decided he's lived long enough. He kind of calls his family together, figures out a way to get them to determine what happens with the money. I mean, he's amassed quite a fortune over 250 years, but he's done. However, this is not as easily done as it is said. Before this can happen, he has to also deal with his wife Lucia, who he has a strained relationship with, his five children chomping at the bit for who gets what of the inheritance, the recent arrival of a nun who may not have the most clear intentions upon her arrival, who will interact with different characters, and has she interacted with others prior to this? Hmm. And also, not to mention, a whole new rash of murders that is occurring throughout Santiago with a killager foraging human hearts. To say nothing of the arrival of another historical figure that will arrive at the end of the film that will turn some of the history we know on its head in a huh kind of way. Now, the film, while it has its share of gruesome death scenes, it is, a vampire film after all. It is more a dark comedy, not a horror film, in how it satirizes politics, religion, and greedy families. Now, this exploration of power and exaggeration is ground that Lorraine has tread before. Maybe not to this extent, but he did recently direct two films that led to Oscar nominations for his leading ladies. He directed Jackie, starring Natalie Portman, and Spencer, starring Kristen Stewart. So here again, he takes the tale of politics and power and the way it impacts those around them. The performances in this film are all good. The characters deliver their satirical dialogue in comical ways, and they all create characters that are just dislikable. I mean, you understand why they're dislikable, but it's interesting that none of them seems worthy in all aspects. So it's an interesting character piece in how he paints the history, but also visually where the film is recognized, this is stunning. The recognition for the cinematography is not a surprise at all. Edward Lockman does an incredible job capturing the vastness of the Chilean outskirts where Pinochet and his wife have made a home, as well as including different shots of the city while our vampiric friends are flying high above the ground. Additionally, while the murder scenes are graphic, they're gorgeously shot. And what ties all of this together is that it is done in crystal clear black and white, which almost makes some of the details pop even more. Kind of similar to the way that Godzilla minus one minus color added a whole great layer to the film, having seen it in black and white after I had seen it in color. Now, this film just has one scene, I won't say where, I won't say what, that does invoke color, that actually has a nice punch and helps serve the purpose of the film all in all. Now, While visually stunning and an interesting satire, this film is not as highly rated as the others this week have been for me. El Conde for me is only a 3-star film. An hour and 45 minutes doesn't move quite as well as I would like to. They kind of shoehorn in a lot of different plot points, and I felt we needed a little bit less. So some elements have more attention paid to them, others are kind of rushed. So there's a little bit of a narrative fault in there, but that doesn't take away from the visual stunningness of the piece. It's probably why I give it that 3rd star, because I just couldn't take my eyes off the screen. Now, if you would like to catch El Conde, I wouldn't recommend it. He's a vampire. But if you want to see the film, it is streaming exclusively on Netflix. So there we have it. International Week is moving on. As always, if you like, please subscribe to the channel, get the word out there. There's so much cinematic goodness coming, and even though the Oscars are almost upon us, that doesn't mean that I'm going to vanish. More things will be coming. Information will be released soon. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. Follow along on the journey. Please, I hope everyone is getting their ballots ready and enjoying the short videos on my predictions for who will win. There's a couple of nail biters that I'm going to be talking about in the next few days. See everyone tomorrow as we continue on our international week. But until then, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.